Well, does it get better than today's jobs report? I don't think so. 209,000 jobs added in July, higher than analysts expected, and investors like the news as the Dow closed at a record high for the 8th straight day. Joining me now to talk about this, Kevin Kelly, a managing partner at Kelly & Co., aptly named. Great to see you, Kevin. So I love this, right? Start with the jobs report. Great numbers, 16-year low on that unemployment rate. Love to see that. Are you satisfied, though, with the wage gains?
You know, I don't think anybody really is satisfied with the wage gains. And one of the reasons why is because the second largest cost to employers is healthcare. And we've seen that rise, right? So we go back to 2012. Healthcare was only 13% of the economy. It's now 17%. We know costs are rising in that regard. But I think the biggest takeaway and why the market was up from this jobs number was because the prime age workers, age 25 to 54, it's robust. It's at 78.
People are getting back in the workforce.
Yes, and the prime age, and those are really a lot of the skilled people in the backbone of the economy.
That has been such a big issue in this country because we've seen people sitting on the sidelines, people sitting at home, and to see people getting back into the market, you know, people are excited. They're up. They feel like there's opportunity out there.
Yeah, and those prime age workers, we need them to be out there. We need them. We need that tax revenue, right? Labor participation is still relatively low, but at least the prime age workers are getting back into the workforce.
Let's talk about the impacts on the market. We're looking at it right here. Look at these numbers. I'm telling you, every day it seems. I think we've counted 31 days this year that we've had record closes on the Dow. I mean, shockingly good numbers. I read that Boeing, for example, had the best July for its stock in something like 35 years. Yeah,
it was up 12% in July, and one of the important takeaways from that is that it's added to the Dow 22,000 number. About 340 points of that was Boeing alone. But I think it's a perfect example of these large multinational corporations that are benefiting from global growth, right? So they're not only performing here in the United States, they're also doing very well overseas, and we've seen as China actually numbers have done well. Same with Europe. Germany has benefited. They are using large corporations.
All right, I just have to, talk about the future for a second, and then I'm going to get you a different question. Only 42% of the time does the S&P 500 go up in the month of September. Just saying, if you're wondering what to do next, keep that in the back of your head. But one thing I do want to talk about tonight, there is a report that the administration is talking about reducing the impact, cutting, getting rid of, we're not sure what level, the mortgage deduction. Now, I'm just going to rail on this for about 10 seconds here. So you make the promise out there that people can buy their own home, get a tax break, and then you change the rules in the middle of the game. That does not seem fair.
Yeah, well, this just highlights how complicated our tax code is, right? It's over 75,000 pages, and it's filled with special interests, right? So you're going to have a cadre of lawyers and lobbyists going...
Yeah, but there are special interests here.
Yeah.
There's the real estate industry, but there's also middle America that owns their own home and relies on this deduction.
Right, but the argument, you'd actually be surprised, the Cato Institute is actually against this because the wealthy benefit from this because it's up to $1 million. So if you think about the middle class and small-time people, they don't need $1 million interest rate deduction. So they're talking about taking it from $1 million to 500,000. So it's
not
just showing. Yet they might benefit if tax rates go down to 15, right? So it's a give and take, right? Would they rather have a lower interest rate deduction on their mortgage, or would they rather have 15%?
I'd say take it out of somebody else's hide. That's what I say.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's saying, right? And so everyone's going to fight over it in Washington.
Thank you. Good job.